guys, today we're going to finish up chapter 6 in Alice in Wonderland, which means we're about halfway through our story, and it just seems to get crazier and crazier, doesn't it? We started out with chapter 6, and we've met the Cheshire Cat, and this chapter is called Pig and Pepper, and so there's lots of crazy things going around, and when we stopped, the Duchess was taking care of her baby. "Here, you may nurse it a bit if you like," the Duchess said to Alice, flinging the baby at her as she spoke. "I must go and get ready to play croquet with the Queen." And she hurried out of the room. The cook threw a frying pan after her as she went, but it just missed her. Alice caught the baby with some difficulty, as it was a queer-shaped little creature. Now remember the word queer, which means odd, that we've talked about all through this book, and held out its arms and legs in all directions. "It's just like a starfish," thought Alice. The poor little thing was snorting like a steam engine when she caught it, and kept doubling itself up and straightening itself out again, so that altogether for the first minute or two it was as much as she could do to hold it. So what do you think this baby looked like if it was being compared to a starfish and then a snorting like a steam engine? So a starfish has 5 arms, doesn't it? 5 arms and legs. So I wonder if that's what the baby looked like. As soon as she had made out the proper way of nursing it, which was to twist it up in a sort of a knot, and then keep tight hold of its right ear and left foot so as to prevent it from undoing itself, she carried it out into the open air. "If I don't take this child away with me," thought Alice, "they're sure to kill it in a day or two. Wouldn't it be murder to leave it behind?" She said the last words out loud, and the little thing grunted in reply, if it had left off sneezing by this time. "Don't grunt," said Alice. "That's not at all proper way of expressing yourself." The baby grunted again, and Alice looked very anxiously into its face to see what was the matter with it. There could be no doubt that it had a very turned-up nose, much more like the snout than a real nose. Also, its eyes were getting extremely small for a baby. Altogether, Alice did not like the look of the thing at all. But perhaps it was only sobbing, she thought, and looked into its eyes again to see if there were any tears. No, there were no tears. "If you're going to turn into a pig, my dear," said Alice seriously, "I have nothing more to do with you, mind you now." The poor little thing sobbed again, or grunted. It was impossible to say which, and they went on for some time in silence. "So what happened to the baby? What do you think happened to the baby? It seemed to be changing what it looked like. Is that a surprising change, do you think?" I think so. It's probably kind of weird. But what other surprising and unexpected changes have happened in Wonderland while we've been there? I can think of a lot. Can't you? This time there could be no mistake about it. It was neither more or less than a pig, and she felt that it would be quite absurd for her to carry it further. So she set the little creature down and felt quite relieved to see it trot away quietly into the wood. "If it had grown up," she said to herself, "it would have made a dreadfully ugly child. But it makes a rather handsome pig, I think." And she began thinking over other children she knew who might do very well as pigs, and was just saying to herself, if only one knew the right way to change. Then, when she was a little startled by seeing the Cheshire Cat sitting on a bough of a tree a few yards off. The cat only grinned when it saw Alice. It looked good-natured, she thought. Still, it had very long claws and a great many teeth, so she felt that it ought to be treated with respect. "Cheshire Cat," she began rather timidly. As she did, not all know whether it would be the name. However, it only grinned a little wider. "Come, it's pleased so far," thought Alice, and she went on. "Would you tell me, please, which way I ought to go from here?" "That depends a good deal on where you want to get to," said the cat. "I don't much care where I go." So Alice has seen the Cheshire Cat again. When did she first see him? Do you remember earlier in the chapter? And what was the cat doing? "Well, then it doesn't matter which way you go," said the cat, "so long as I get somewhere." Alice added an explanation. "Oh, you're sure to do that," said the cat, if you only walk long enough." Alice felt that this thought could not be denied, so she tried another question. "What sort of people live about here?" "In that direction," the cat said, waving his right paw. "Round lives a hatter, and in that direction," waving the other paw, "lives a March hare. Visit either you like, they're both mad. But I don't want to go among mad people, Alice remarked. Oh, you can't help that, said the cat. We're all mad here. I'm mad, you're mad. How do you know I'm mad, said Alice. You must be, said the cat, or you wouldn't have come here. Alice didn't think that proved it at all. However, she went on. And how do you know that you're mad? To begin with, said the cat, a dog's not mad. You grant that. I suppose so, said Alice. Well then, the cat went on, you see your dog growls when it's angry and wags its tail when it's pleased. Now I growl when I'm pleased and wag my tail when I'm angry. Therefore, I'm mad. I call it purring, not growling, said Alice. Call it what you like, said the cat. Do you play croquet with the queen today? I should like that very much, said Alice, but I haven't been invited yet. You'll see me there, said the cat, and he vanished. So this is part of the cat being mad? Maybe. Alice was not much surprised at this. She was getting so used to the queer things happening. While she was looking at the place where it had been, it suddenly appeared again. By the by, what became of the baby, said the cat. I'd nearly forgotten to ask. It turned into a pig, Alice quietly said, just as if it had come back in a natural way. I thought it would, said the cat, and vanished again. Alice waited a little, half expecting to see it again, but it did not appear. And after a minute or two, she walked on in the direction in which the March Hare was said to live. I've seen hatters before, she said to herself. The March Hare will be much the most interesting, and perhaps this is it won't be raving mad. At least not so mad as it was in March. As she said this, she looked up, and there was the cat again sitting on the branch of a tree. Did you say a pig or a fig, said the cat. I said a pig, replied Alice, and I wished you wouldn't keep appearing and vanishing so suddenly. You make me quite giddy. All right, said the cat, and this time it vanished quite slowly, beginning with the end of the tail and ending with the grin, which remained some time after the rest of it had gone. Well, I've often seen a cat with a grin, thought Alice, but a grin without a cat? It's the most curious thing I've ever seen in my life. She had not gone much farther before she came in sight of the house of the March Hare. She thought it must be the right house because the chimneys were shaped like ears, and the roof was thatched with fur. It was so large a house that she did not like to go nearer till she had nibbled some more off the left-hand bit of the mushroom and raised herself to about 2 feet high. Even then, she walked up towards it rather timidly, saying to herself, suppose it should be raving mad after all. I almost wished I'd gone to see the Hatter instead. Now, as we finished up this chapter, we've heard the word croquet several times. And the Duchess was on her way to do croquet with the Queen, and Alice said she'd very much like to do that, but she hadn't been invited. And so I thought some of you may own a croquet set, which is a lawn game that was played, and it's very popular in England, where the story took place. But I don't have one, but I thought of a fun game that you guys probably could make yourself, and I had Lily help me make a fun little croquet game. And croquet have these wickets. These are the little things, and you can watch a video on how croquet is done. But we decided to make a fun indoor croquet out of some cardboard, which I'm sure most of you have because you've probably gotten something from Amazon, and some construction paper, and some paper to make a little ball. Now the goal of croquet is to knock your little ball through the wickets. Now we made, and then hit the little end caps. We made some little sticks, croquet sticks, with some sticks and construction paper and a toilet paper roll. So you could do that, and you're counting how many times you could get until you can hit the end. Oops. Or you could use your finger and thump the ball. So either way, you could have fun creating your own croquet thing. You can also use tape and make one on your table. So whatever sounds like fun with some stuff you have around, if you want to learn to play indoor croquet. And I have to thank Lily, my daughter, for helping make this awesome indoor croquet with stuff we had around our house. So have fun with this indoor croquet, and I'm sure you're going to be excited to see what happens next in Wonderland. Bye, guys.